Hello, I nearly said welcome to Live Sprints, but this is not a Thursday night sprint. This is the live stream for the YA Book Club, and I'm really excited to talk about this one because we have read a vampire book. It has been Vampire Month, reading The Lost Girls by Sonia Hartle. Everybody clutching their books. Thank you for the online support, everyone. So when I was putting this chat together, I originally started off with vampire authors and then invited Erin as well to join us. And unfortunately, my lovely friend Aisling can't be here tonight. So I thought, who do I know who loves vampire books? And just kind of summoned the fictional Hangover house. And they appeared because tell us the catchphrase, ladies. What is the catchphrase of fictional Hangover?
All vampires all the time.
Yes. So I feel like I should have really asked you to do this anyway. It was an oversight on my part. So at least we've remedied it. And you can be here as not only a replacement Aisling, but excellent vampire enthusiasts. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to talk to lovely people on screen about our thoughts about the book. I'm going to ask them various questions. So if you want to answer the questions, feel free to do so in the chat. Somebody called me, but confusingly, who is my husband, will also be in the chat, choosing some giveaway winners because we have a bookmark and a bookplate that Sonia kindly sent to us. There are also enough for the people on screen if you would like one. We have some spare bookplates and bookmarks for Sonia. So if you pop me your addresses and I can send you those out. So I think that's everything I needed to tell you. So I'm sure lots of people on screen will already be recognisable to you if you've seen my channel before, but let's go around and do some quick introductions. So Alex, can you tell us a little bit about you? What brings you here? Why did I choose you for Vampire Chat?
Yes, yeah. So, hi. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to be going first.
Sorry.
My name's Alex. I am here today, repping the middle grade vampires. I am the author of the Rules for Vampires series of books, which I do have here next to me today. After I let myself down, bang! There's the first one,
Nice.
and there's the second one. Boom.
Beautiful.
There we are. I've come prepared today. So yes, they are there. I've been a huge fan of everything vampires since I was a small human. So I'm very, very excited to be here and to be meeting everyone and ready to talk about the Lost Girls. Thank you for having me.
And now writing for the small people who love vampires. So how cool is that? You've come full circle from being one to writing for them. So how about you, Erin? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Erin. My channel name is Erin Megan. I'm a booktuber, so I talk about horror books, thriller books. I also do romance and manga. I'm actually new to the vampire genre, and it's all because of Amy, because I read Mina and the Undead and fell in love. So it's all because of Amy that I actually have expanded my horizons and read more vampire stuff now. So
excuse me while I turn my camera off and just cry for a minute. Yeah, I remember when I messaged you and you were like, I don't normally read vampire books, and sometimes this is where it goes horribly wrong, and people are like, yeah, I don't read vampire books, and there's a reason for that, but luckily it worked with you. So thank you, Erin. That was a very nice introduction. My ego feels sufficiently massaged now. So I feel like I'm going to talk to you individually now, because I talked to you just to talk at you as a pair, generally, Claire and Amanda. But I'm going to let you introduce yourselves separately. Claire and Amanda, I'll briefly say, they host the fabulous Fictional Hangover podcast, who talk to authors like myself who write creepy, fun and quirky things. You reached out to me on social media and asked me to do a spoilery interview, and I was like, oh, no, that sounds terrifying. And I've been, hooked ever since. So Claire, do you want to start? I've given you the kind of couples introduction, but do you want to introduce yourself as an individual?
I don't feel comfortable as an individual. We are a partnership. So co-host on Fictional Hangover podcast. We're available on all social medias, and we have a YouTube channel where you can watch our Vampire Book Club discussions on video. They're unedited, so I'm sorry for not being able to read a summary coherently.
Aren't we all? I mean, me and Erin, I'm sure, have been there, but we just get to edit it out, so all is well.
Well, that's where Amanda becomes my absolute legend, because when you listen to the audio version, she does a stellar job at editing all my mistakes. So by night, I am the vampire lover and podcast host, and by day, I'm a research assistant and information specialist at a university. So there's not enough reading in my day job.
Yeah, I was going to say, weigh up which one I understand and relate to. Definitely not the day job bit, but I'm sure it's very interesting.
It depends on your perspective.
you
I'll be
know,
honest.
or pays the bills and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Amanda, you are sort of at the day job. You are at the day job now, but on a break from day job.
Yes, I am currently working my day job. I am a public librarian, and let's see, public librarian by day, podcast host / audiobook narrator by all the rest of the time of my life. So hey,
And cosplayer and house builder, kind of in between.
You know, the house is finished now, so no longer.
Oh, it looks so amazing.
Thank you. Hangover has been my life for 5 years now, so it's second to me, but everything else.
Oh, I don't know, did anyone else lose Amanda a little bit towards the end there?
Yeah.
Oh, and she's frozen. We'll let Amanda catch up for a second. So, I'm going to ask you all then, I'll give Amanda a second, I'm sure the internet connection, across the ocean will eventually sort itself out, hopefully. If not, we can do a little refresh or something.
Was anyone else just nodding politely along? Sorry, Amy. Was anyone else just nodding just in case?
Yeah, no, I was like,
our internet. I was just like, yeah.
Is it really bad that actually I knew exactly what she said?
We spend a lot of time together, and I've listened to Amanda's voice enough that I could piece it together. But I thought for the uninitiated,
am I back or no?
I could hear you then, but you're kind of moving slightly slowly. So this is the joys of StreamYard, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm in a public library, so everybody's using all of our internet right now.
Yeah.
Rude. Did they not know who you are?
Insulated by books too. I imagine that books and the internet aren't always the most compatible things, but she says in the room surrounded by them, but not probably quite as many books as are in the building that you're in right now. Okay, so introduction's done. Let's move on to what we thought of the book. And amazingly, I haven't chatted to any of you yet about, normally I haven't been able to resist. I don't know what any of you thought of it. So I'll start briefly. I won't give too much away about what I thought in case I sway you, but it was different from what I expected. So I'm interested to hear what you think of it, because John took a must-die with vampires is how it was described to me. And actually, apart from the one-liner, it was kind of really different from that. So, Erin, do you want to start us off and kind of tell us what you thought about it? And then if you rate book, I know you do star rate books, if you want to give us your star rating.
Okay, so I actually finished it last night / this morning because I was reading like early this morning. So I actually really liked this, and I feel like I didn't really know what to expect because I've actually never watched John Tucker Must Die, so I didn't really know what to compare it to. But I actually really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a really easy, simple, just like fast, quick, like palate cleanser of a book. It wasn't anything like too hard to comprehend. It wasn't too complex. It was just really easy and like fun and lighthearted. And I really liked that because I read a lot of dark and messed up stuff back to back, so it was a really nice, like, easy read, and I really liked that. So I guess if I was going to give it a star rating right now, I'd give it 4 stars.
Oh, that's a good solid start. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that's just the sort of lightness of it, and I think I expected like more twists maybe, because I like, the books, I mean, Claire and Amanda, similar to me, we read a lot of twisty books, don't we? So I think I expected more of that, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. That there was, I think, like one reveal at the end where I went, oh, I didn't expect that. But apart from that, it just kind of unfolded around me, which was nice. How about you, Claire? What did you think of it? Without giving too much away for the podcast, because I know you've got one of these coming up soon.
Dang, I forget. Yeah. If you want the spoilery discussion, follow us.
Yeah, no, this can be spoilery. I will say it now. Feel free as guests, you can be as spoilery as you like, because hopefully people are coming into this having watched it. Watched it? Yes, watched the film version. The book that didn't exist. Read the book. Quickly gonna drink my energy watermelon drink and see if I
Good idea.
Sorry, Claire. While I'm drinking my drink, do you want to explain?
Like Erin, I have not seen John Tucker Must Die. It's not my kind of movie at all. But this was on our radar. Oh gosh, last year, and I'm sure I can't remember which episode it was, but it was definitely Shani and Harris Vampire Book Club recommendation that we made, and there was just something about the idea of like a found family of girls coming together and defeating their boy nemesis, who, you know, really screwed them over. That just really sung to us. So it's been a fantastic excuse to actually get a chance to read it. So for me, like you say, it was quite an easy read. I say formulaic, but I don't mean that in a negative sense. I had no surprises going along.
Yeah.
I blame that, and I've said it to Amanda before, that we read a lot of books, so I think it's hard for us to actually be surprised by certain things because you're expecting these tropes. And for me, again, yeah, it was a solid 4 stars out of 5. It was very enjoyable, very quick, very light read. Nice twist on the vampire trope as well.
Yes, and then we'll move on to that in a little bit because that's the kind of main thing I want to talk to you all about, because I know you all know your vampire stuff. I want to hear what you think of the tropes. So let's carry on going around the group then. Alex, what did you think of it?
Yeah, well, so I had a feeling coming into it that I would be sort of approaching it from a little bit of a different place compared to some of the other folks who are reading it. As someone who reads very, very little YA, and I think that this was definitely a good springboard to reading more in the future, which I think will be very exciting. I think I'd begun it sort of with my middle grade head on, which was not the correct sort of space for it, really. And then I kind of started to think, well, you know, should I kind of maybe approach this more as if I were reading an adult book in terms of my expectations of it, and that was sort of the wrong fit as well. So I kind of had a few teething problems with it early on, I want to say.
How many vampire puns are we going to make tonight? There's the first one.
That being said, though, I think once I managed to sink my teeth into it, there's the introduction of a particular character into the coven later on that sort of drew me in that little bit more. And I did really, really hate the villain. I just thought he was a right prick.
Yeah.
And not in a fun way.
Is there a fun way to be a prick? I don't know. Maybe.
I think so.
I feel like that.
I mean, I
tell you what, forget I said that. I feel like from Amanda's face, she's going to take us down and answer them. I don't need to.
I mean, my favorite type of character in any book is the lovable asshole. So, yes. Of course, I love all of the bad guys all the time. So.
Okay, so what did you think of it then? There was definitely some vile characters in this book. What did you think of it overall?
Oh, I was really pleased with it. I also gave it a solid 4, but I really appreciated Justice Bolding's narration of it. She did a fantastic job with the audiobook. So just got a shout out to my audiobook narrators there, but it was fantastic. It's a great book.
It makes such a difference, I think, the audiobook narrator, not just saying this to, massage your ego now, but yeah, I've listened to some books where I've loved the book and then read the audiobook and gone, oh no, I can't, I don't hear that voice along with, the characters, really old compared with. And just the same, there's books where I've thought, the book's probably not my thing. And you hear an amazing audiobook narrator, like the Dresden Files books, James Masters reads them. So I just listened to him read out a shopping list or the back of a cereal box. So those books can be about anything and I'd be there with it. So I think it's probably a good time to jump into the comments because we've done a lot of chat to the people on the screen. So let us know in the comments what you thought of the book. Sorry, the comments coming slowly. Hi, Stephen. Thank you for joining us. Hi. Hello. Lots of nice smiling faces in the chat. I'll be interested to hear what all of you think as well. Hello. Nice username, Horror Gardener. Hi. Thank you, everybody. So we just obviously missed the introduction part. I think I'm one step ahead, with the questions as the people in the chat. So yeah, let us know in the chat what you thought of the book, and then we can, when I ask everybody the next question, we can find out what you thought as well. So my next question, I think we need to talk about the vampire tropes because we all alluded to them a little bit. I liked the fact that this book did its own thing with it. So, Amanda, do you want to start us off with what you thought of this book's take on vampires?
Yeah, can I just say that I was in love with the fact that all of their body parts just grew back immediately. This is fantastic. Just rip off that arm and beat someone with it. Beat someone with your own arm or something. I love that they
Yeah, so what did you think, apart from the ripping off body parts part of the myth? What did you think of the other elements of the vampire mythology? I'm glad that stood out to you, though. That makes me happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything just goes back immediately. It was fantastic. But I really enjoyed the fact that you couldn't just stake them or throw them in the sun or cut off their head, whatever. You had to destroy that heirloom as well. I thought that's a really interesting thing. Like you can't just toss a body out into the sun. There's got to be something else going on. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it was clever. I like when I read a vampire book and I go, I didn't expect that one. Like Aislinn, who was meant to be here, in her book Big Bad Me, there were a couple of the vampire, like lesser known kind of lore where she went, I won't spoil it for you if you're going to read it, but she just used some of the ones that are a bit more obscure, and I think that's really clever, either making them up or kind of coming up with obscure ones that aren't just the usual format.
She used one of my favorite tropes actually in her book. So if we're not going to say what that is out loud, I'm not going to say what it is out loud, but Aislinn loved it.
Well, is it to do with small things?
It was also included in Garlic and the Vampire, a middle grade graphic novel that is absolutely super cute, with the world's best carrot.
It keeps coming up, and I'm going to have to buy this book, aren't I? Because that's, I think, the third time I've heard mention of that this week. That sounds like more your speed, Alex. Get Garlic and the Vampire. I think that one will float in your
I know.
boxes.
Hang on, everyone pause while I open a tab.
Yeah, no.
There's also Garlic and the Witch as well. That I just also reading on Wednesday. Always be plugging. Sorry.
I know this.
So,
oh my god! Wonderful.
How about you, Claire? Do you have any strong thoughts about the vampire mythology?
I have very strong thoughts about the vampire mythology, and that's a very dangerous question to ask me. So I'm going to rein it in, because otherwise Amanda will send me a private message telling me to shut up.
So give us the dissertation summary, and then we can do the dissertation. Maybe for a full podcast.
Please see every Vampire Trope podcast episode. I too love the number trope that wasn't included in this book, but I really enjoyed that heirloom. The idea that their mortal memories are being kept in a single drop of blood in a precious item that has some sentimental meaning. It made me actually, as I was listening to it, think, what would my heirloom actually be? And I don't really know, because I'm not a jewelry person either. So it kind of like, would it be my teddy bear? I think it would probably be my teddy bear.
That I've had some blood in your teddy. That sounds wrong. Like you're going to animate it, and it's like this evil demonic bear.
I mean, that's a different story. We're going down a completely different route. Yeah. But I've had this teddy bear since I was 5 years old. I remember buying it on the aeroplane to California. I know, she still sits on my bedside. Cali Bear is my favorite thing ever. But in terms of like the vampire tropes, I like the twist. I love the fact that these vampires can go out in the daylight. They just choose not to because they're antisocial and they don't really want to associate with their food. I get that. I'm not going to walk into a field full of cows and pigs. I'll eat them, but I'm not going to go and socialise with them. And I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the antisocial element of it. Because I'm like, yeah, this is so relatable. So I think within the book, my favourite trope was actually the fact that they can go in the daylight. But the newness of the heirloom and the drop of blood was lovely. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it had this whole kind of melancholy feel to it, I think, that I didn't expect. Like with that and with, I don't know, I expected it to be a bit more like they were really happy to be vampires. And it was actually quite refreshing that they were kind of a bit miserable. And like, yeah, I think a lot of vampire stuff you watch and it's really fun. And like on Vampire Diaries, there are no consequences for being a vampire. You just slip on a magic ring and you can go out in the day and everything's fine. And you just hypnotize people to forget everything. So you can just, be evil and there's no consequence. So I like the fact that there were kind of consequences and that being a vampire had like weighed on them differently. So yeah, without me saying too much and taking away what other people are going to say, what did you think, Erin, about the vampire mythology?
Yeah, I actually agree with Claire. I actually really liked that they were antisocial. I liked that they didn't want to be around humans and they were just like, I just don't feel like it. This is weird. I don't want to be around them. Because I just thought that was so funny. And they were so like, they felt so much like teenagers to me. They were like, I don't really want to interact with other people, but also they wanted to be with other people at the same time. And that just felt so much like teenagers to me that like I related. Like I was like, I don't really want to be around other people, but I also don't want to be alone either. So I thought that was really funny. I also really liked the heirloom. I thought that was really sweet, but also really, really sad. It made me really sad that that was like holding their memories. And I don't know, the part that it played in the book just like it made me sad. I don't know. It was a different take on vampires. Like you said, it made it less like fun. Oh, haha, we're vampires. We can do whatever we want. Nothing, there's no repercussions. That, and then it just had a different look at it. I liked that.
Yeah, and I think that it was quite interesting. Like, I think vampires either seem to be like the rip the head off, like Damon type vampire, or they're kind of the, oh, I feel really bad about feeding on humans, like, you know, the Stefan type vampire. So these were kind of somewhere in the middle. Like, I quite liked the kind of humorous, yeah, I'm just going to go bite somebody and put them in a dumpster. That's fine. And it was kind of like a throwaway thing, like, I've just murdered someone. Like, what else are we going to do today? Yeah, I thought that was like very interesting. How about
I
you,
like
Alex?
the fact they get rid of the
Sorry.
packaging.
Oh,
You know, when you finished your meal, you put the packaging in the bin, and that's what they did. You know, the recycling.
Over
Unless they
and
were making
over
it
and
into a lamp.
over. What's the police doing? That's what I want to know.
I did wonder, like, especially
Have they
because
eaten all the police?
well, they're following this guy around as well, aren't they? So wherever they are, like, there's surely like loads of murders happening, and then they just move on to the next town, like, you know, Ted Bundy crossing state lines and nobody realizes. But this is, you know, 50 years later. How about 50 years later? Is that right? Oh my gosh. How about you, Alex? Because, like we said, this is the kind of different sort of vampire trope to your usual one. Like, I think in a middle grade book, you spend a lot of time trying to make them a bit more palatable, and these were definitely not palatable vampires. So, what did you think?
Yeah. Actually, I think that the vampire tropes that were used were definitely my hook into the story. Like I say, that and characters that were introduced a little bit later on. So it's interesting actually that you've mentioned about this business of moving from place to place and following your vampire maker, because that to me really solidified motivation at the beginning of the story. Because can you imagine how irritating that must be to have to pack up your whole life, as it were, and, you know, move on to a completely different place and have to start over again when you are physically 16 years old. Just an absolute nightmare. And this, there was an idea earlier on from it was when Holly was talking with Ida and Rose, and there was this idea that Elton may not stop. So just creating like a never ending sort of horde of vampires, and that to me was sort of where I sat up and kind of started to pay attention a little bit more. I think as far as the heirloom thing goes, I was a little bit worried early on, because that to me kind of sort of de-escalates some of the peril. Because a lot of the vampire lore surrounding sunlight, etc. I notice it's overdone. And stakes is the other one. Staking. I realise that it's used in a lot of different vampire media. But I think one of the really cool things about vampires as an iconic horror monster is the fact that they do have all these powers, but they also have their weaknesses. And my concern with the heirloom was that it kind of made them a little bit too powerful, as cool as it is. That being said, it's mentioned a few times, this threat of sort of being locked up and left and starved as kind of like a fate worse than death, which sort of ramped up those stakes for me again.
Alex is winning everyone. You're going to have to catch on.
I'm doing well. I don't know why I'm like... I feel like I've been possessed by the ghost of my granddad, and I just can't stop punning. But
you do school events for children all the time, Alex. So I feel like this is your bread and butter, like talking about vampire books in a quirky, fun way.
They hate it when I try and be funny as well. I posted a picture on Twitter of my little ending card for my event, and it says "Thanks for listening." And they always, I mean, you know, there's a lot of groaning. Thank you, Claire. I appreciate that. So yeah, a really cool play, I think, on expectations, on my expectations surrounding vampires. It's definitely changed the way that I think about vampire media.
Yeah, I feel like we need to get you to read more like YA books. I'm going to take this as a bit of a personal mission. Every week when we do sprints, I'm going to be like, Alex, I found another one. And it could go really well, or I could like turn you off YA books forever. I'm not sure, but I'm going to try.
I trust you. I think.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm going to see what the people in the comments are saying because lots of comments are popping up. Yeah, to be honest, I think that's where I am with it. I really enjoyed it, but I think I expected to absolutely love it. And there was just a very slight something there. And for me, it was a really boring, like, authory thing, I think, that I felt like the locations didn't build that much. Like, there was quite a lot of going from a school to the girl's house, who I've forgotten the name of. That's really bad. Like, the friend's house, back to the school, and I felt I just wanted a little bit, like, you know, like in The Lost Boys, like you think of all the kind of iconic set pieces and stuff, like I kind of expected a little bit of that, but I think that's on me. Like sometimes you read a book with this specific expectation and it doesn't deliver, and you're like, how rude, book, you didn't do what I want. And then I'm like, well, I won't want people to do that to my book, so maybe I should just go into a book a bit more kind of like open-minded, not specifically expecting it to be a thing. So
the synopsis was so strong though, wasn't it?
Yes,
the sort of sapphic John Tucker must die rampage of revenge. When you hear that, you immediately feel like, okay, I'm on board, let's go. And then when you are maybe not met with that sort of immediately, maybe that's where that comes from.
Yeah, and you're right actually, because John Tucker Must Die is like they're trying to like destroy this guy with 1,000 cuts, like constant small little pranks they play on him that escalate. Whereas with this, it kind of wasn't about. I think I expected that to kind of try and make him a bit miserable, but they just wanted to murder him. So again, that was kind of my
point out though that you're all 16, 17-year-old girls.
Yes.
You know, one of them's 100, one of them's 50, and one of them's 30 years old. They have not aged. They have no social security. They have no valid ID. So if they were suddenly to do that American teenager thing of being able to get into their really expensive sports car because they're immortal vampires who have all this money behind them and drive really quickly and be like, oh, it doesn't matter, you know, if we get pulled over by the police, we'll just eat them. That would have been horrible. That would have just totally ruined it for me. They were like, oh, we'll have to get on the bus. Let's just walk. You know, we're not going to get tired. We're undead. We'll walk the 10 miles. Or, oh, we've got to get how we're going to get from A to B. The lead character is working in freaking Taco Bell to make ends meet. They have to live in a dead person's house and steal that person's identity for a short period of time because the teenagers who don't know life skills, who were never taught these life skills, and it's reiterated several times, which I do appreciate, that they don't grow up from that age of being 16, which makes any relationships less creepy.
Yes, true.
So I think I get where you're coming from, but I think we also need to keep in mind that they are 16-year-old girls from very different time periods.
This is very true. I think what you said is exactly right about Taco Bell. I remember thinking about like the Buffy having to work in Double Meat Palace thing, like because she dropped out of college and she couldn't like maintain being a vampire slayer and going to college. And I think that kind of authenticity, making something kind of that could be ridiculous, like some vampire films are completely, you can't ground them in reality and they don't feel like something. I think making it feel really grounded in reality, this book did that really well. Like it just seemed like a step and vampires could be real, and I like that. I like a book that can convince me that it's plausible, because I kind of want vampires to be real, let's be honest. Let's see, so yes, yep, I think we can probably all agree on that. I'm going to ask about the characters actually in a moment, because I think that was one of my favorite things. Yeah, same. Although I sort of expected it, yes, I think that was quite a popular thing too. I was still holding a little bit of like, oh God, I hope this does go well for them at the end, and then it all works out. Yeah, it was gorier than I expected actually. Yes, I think we have agreed that those of us, How do I know that you'd come in loving the dismemberment, Sharon? What is that? Last time I got Sharon talking about cannibalism and like what's an acceptable degree of like gruesomeness, and I think Sharon's level's a little bit threshold's a bit higher than mine. So yeah, I'm glad there was plenty of dismemberment to keep people happy. Hi Tyler, happy May. I can't believe it's May. I have a book deadline in June, so it's giving me slight panic that it is May now. I'm sure Alex can relate to this feeling. My book's now due next month. Alarm bells.
All the
Although
time.
I'm also going to Disney next month, so that is good.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think, I agree with that. Also agree with the moving to Alaska thing. Like, I thought it was really funny in Twilight. We just go to Forks because it's cloudy there. Guess what? I went to Forks and it was sunny for 3 days. So just blew that one out of the water right there.
I can't talk about that. Those episodes of fictional hangover for me to rant about the Pacific Northwest. It was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, do you say you just never get sunlight there? Yeah, it's just you don't get summer. It's constant cloud cover and like rain and snow, isn't it?
It's weather stereotyping that we Brits suffer from as well.
Yeah, exactly. Although it's mostly true in our case, let's be honest. We have a bank holiday weekend. We know it's going to be ruined by some kind of weather.
That's true.
Yeah, we all love the limb ripping. I'm not going to just put it on Sharon. Let's be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting though, isn't it? Because I think like you can say that the experience would add to the years on them, but I just know there's always that thing with vampires, isn't there? Where you can say this is the vampire mythology of this world, isn't it? That there's some kind of paranormal way of explaining that away, that they're everything about them froze in time, that it isn't just like Claudia from Into the Vampire where she's child on the outside, adult, brain and stuff, which has its own problems of stuff which I won't go into right now, but I agree with what Alex said. It was really good motivation for the characters. Yeah, interesting. I do love an illustrator, but your book's beautifully illustrated, isn't it, Alex? And I think that definitely adds something. Although we learned particularly beautifully illustrated on some of the pages the other night.
Let's leave that for another.
Yeah, well, we can do a whole discussion of that.
I don't want to publicize that too much, but Sarah Ogilvie, who does the illustrations for Rules for Vampires, is absolutely amazing. I really, really love reading books with illustrations, no matter what age group they're for, and I think that a map for this particular story would be really, really wicked. So I completely agree with that.
I'd love more YA books to have illustrations. I'm just going to put that out into the universe because I think, like with the heirlooms, how cool! And yeah, I know it's just manifest that one, but like a little illustration of each one, like just kind of set into the text. Like I feel like Amanda, you could like sort that out for us. Can you just figure out how to like get YA books illustrated, please?
Yeah, on it. Yeah.
In case anyone's wondering, Amanda is excellent at designing. So do you don't do any of the design, Claire? Do you? Is that all Amanda, that bit?
No, I refuse to try because I used to be able to do art, but that was like 20 years ago.
And Amanda is very, very good. I feel like I don't want to play it doing art if I'm going to be compared to Amanda. Like, I'm not doing that. Okay, so we've talked about the vampire tropes, I think, are one of the big, really interesting things about this book, but also the characters. I think that if it wasn't for the characters, I would have had a different reading experience. I really, really liked the way they were distinguished. I think in a group of young girl vampires, they could have felt really samey, and they didn't at all. I think group dynamics are so hard to pull off like that. I'm just wondering what all of you thought about it. Erin, what did you think about the character descriptions and like how they were set up in the book?
I actually really liked the three main girls. I liked how different they were. Again, I think it had to do with the time periods that they were from, obviously, but I liked how different their personalities were, and I liked how, I mean, my favorite was probably Ida, just because I like the more outspoken, like kind of like mean girl one. I just think that's a fun personality, and I like girls that are more going to stand up for themselves, and I like that about Ida. So for me, she was definitely a standout, but I also liked our main character Holly a lot, and I liked how she would always talk about how they didn't understand why she would do like her killing the way that she did. Like, I like how she had rules, and because that just was like, oh, I would do that too. That would be how I would go about it if I was a vampire. So I thought that was funny, but I liked how different they were, but they all like cared about each other, and they all wanted to be together, to work together, to destroy Eldon. Like, I liked how they knew that they were family immediately. Like, they didn't care how different they were. I liked that a lot.
And I thought Ida's like hobby was hilarious as well.
Yes.
Like, they'd come home and she's like, "Is that a leg?" Yeah, I'm just sealing this leg in resin. Like, what's wrong with it? Like, I like it when something catches me by surprise in a book, and that really like made me chuckle. I'm surprised, and I kind of waited to see what she was going to be working on next. Like, which dismembered body part is she going to be like turning into art? Yes. I can't. I'm trying to think like who's my favorite character. I think I liked different things about all of them, but that stands out for me with Ida. Body part, heart, definitely. How about you, Alex? What did you think of the characters?
So my favorite character is Stacy. I like Stacy because she was just kind of over it. She was sort of over the entire thing. And I love the idea of having, like, you know, had this horrible wound. This is getting into spoiler territory now, isn't it?
Do it. They've had the spoiler warning. Fine.
I'm so sorry. Spoilers. But Stacey has this horrible wound in her neck that is basically how she died or sort of almost died, and then was then brought back to life. So this. And this is another really cool vampire trope as well. This idea of your body being exactly as it was upon the time of your death. So, for example, you know, Holly's crimped hair, and you know, a pimple on her cheek, and I think it was a patch of hair on her leg that she can now never shave. That would annoy me so bad. But I feel like Stacy definitely had it. She had it the worst, and was suitably dramatic. If I were her, I would have gone further. I wouldn't have forgiven Holly. Would not have forgiven Holly. I'm sorry. I was definitely Team Stacy all the way.
Oh, you be Team Stacy. That's fine. We won't hold that against you.
I'm sorry. I don't want to create a divide between us. But I did really like Holly, and I enjoyed her story as well, and sympathised with her a lot. And of course, Rose and Ida kind of steal the show as well. Their double act and their relationship, I think, was probably the strongest one in the book, more so than Holly and Parker, I would say. But that being said, though, it's a long established connection, isn't it? Whereas Holly and Parker are just getting started, so I think that's to be expected. But I think a strong showing.
Yes, and I think it's good to see like newer relationships and that kind of spark, because I think I'm currently writing a book 3, and it's interesting having relationships that have been going on for a while, like are quite different from the brand new kind of shiny, exciting ones.
Yes.
So far, interesting. We've had all different favourite characters. Let's see about Claire, if you're going to change it up or kind of go with the same as somebody else.
No, I think I'm going to be boring. Ida, because you can't beat her art projects. I liked a sense of style and drama. I loved it. But I did also appreciate Stacey with her vampire queen, emo goth, gives no flying monkeys, keep it PG rated at all at the world, and her cellar full of snacks. I like that. I did kind of I do agree with what Alex was saying about I'm surprised that Stacey forgave Holly so quite readily, actually. I know she's had 30 odd years to dwell about it, but I think knowing how I was as a teenager, I'm still annoyed with my bullies from being a teenager. You know, I still hold those resentments. So I think it will probably burn and grow, especially if I'm this undead creature who can rip people's throats out. And she has the secret to her maker's demise now.
Yeah.
Holly needs to watch out. It just takes one trip to the wrong state.
Yeah. I thought she was going to antagonize her a little bit more and be like a bit more of like turn into a villain of the piece. So it was interesting that she didn't. And like you said, Alex, she was just like, yeah, it's cool. You did this to me and we're fine.
Yeah, I mean, it is a short book. I think that, you know, just we do need to sort of bear that in mind in terms of Sonia's the space that she has in this story to move the characters along. But I agree with Claire. it was just the speed at which it happened. It was just sort of like, oh, okay. I was sort of expecting that, maybe it was a ruse.
Yeah, no,
I
was
would
ready
have
for
quite
that, yeah.
liked Stacey turning on Holly, burning the heirloom, and then Holly died, and then Parker joined Ida and Rose in their coven.
Oh.
That's the ending that I was kind of gearing. I knew it wasn't going to happen. But that's the
Were you
ending
just
I
wishing
was
for
thinking
that a little
about.
bit?
Oh yeah.
Or not a little
I like
bit,
the dramatic
like what?
ending.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, you're right, Alex. I think it's kind of so many things just were executed the way I wanted them to be. It's one of those things with books, isn't it? For every person that goes, oh, I love how Stacey forgave her, there's us kind of going, she shouldn't have forgiven her. So yeah, I think it's kind of hard to please everyone, isn't it? As we know, Alex, I'm sure, like, for every person that tweets me and says, oh, hate romance, there's somebody who's like, please just write a whole book of kissing, like, next time. Please.
Oh yeah.
So, you can't please
I've got that open in an incognito tab. Okay, all of the kissing.
Pro strats.
Yeah, it is really hard to please everyone, and I think it did not dampen my enjoyment of the book. It was just something that I noticed. Pacing is so hard. Pacing is always difficult.
I think that's the thing with fictional hangover, though. We always kind of think, well, how could we twist the ending so it's really, really terrible and horrible and makes people miserable?
See, I don't know, like, I kind of want to end on a shred of hope, at least usually for Mina, although I do some terrible things to her too. But yeah, I do try and think, like, what is the worst thing I can do, and then try and make it a bit worse. Like, sometimes, like, when they're stuck in a basement, I'm like, how can I make this more horrible? Like, what, which character do people really not want to get, like, stabbed in the chest? And I'm just probably going to do that, so... That's all this edit is, really. My edit of my third book currently is just more murders, please.
Yes, please.
More blood, more murders.
Yeah,
so.
please. All murders all the time.
All vampire hunters, all the vampire hunter time.
Yeah, I mean, you said it enough times that it may have seeped into my consciousness when I'm writing, but it wasn't called Mina and the Vampire Hunters. I'm sorry to let you down.
I'm really upset about that,
I know,
by the way.
I know. I did steal, like, we did a podcast about Mina and the Undead, and Amanda and Claire told me all the things I should have put in it, and I listened to them, put them in Mina and the Slayer, so it's fine. I've already, like, Amanda's like, me and my husband danced to Kiss from a Rose by Seal, and I was like, okay, I've got that, that's in the book. What else? Give me more. So yeah, I gave you as much as I could, like, and I think it was your turn, Amanda. So what did you think of the characters?
Oh, I loved the characters, and like everybody else, I mean, I loved Ida. But can I just say, and I don't know if anyone said this while I was blanked out there for a minute because internet at the library died, but I was really into Rose's, like, rockabilly style. Like, I loved everything about her, and that she's just, like, kind of a 50s housewife in the background. She's, like, over in the corner dusting stuff. She's dusting the brain-a-lantern. She's dusting the leg lamp. Like, I love that she was doing that in the background. So, I mean, Ida is definitely my favorite, but Rose is a really close second.
I'm surprised you didn't say Gwen, because Gwen was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my God, you're right. Oh, I did love Gwen. She was the worst. Oh my God, you're right. Forget everything I said. Gwen. Gwen is the star of the show.
Yeah. You've redeemed yourself, Amanda. It's fine. We thought for a second you'd softened and, like...
But I have a soul. No, I don't. You're right. Give me all the villains.
Let's see what the people in the comments think of the characters. I don't know that music video. Okay, that sounds dark. I wonder if Sonia Hart will watch that and was like, like I do, like, just kind of, like, the inspiration kind of seeps in and you make it vampires. Yeah, I think found family. If you tell me there's found family in a book, that generally will make me read it. Oh, we are doing a spoilery discussion here, so I'm sorry if you've accidentally heard any spoilers. They've come with the fictional hangover. Maybe heard a couple of spoilers. Yeah. Turn someone. Yeah, that is interesting. And that she didn't know the full ramifications of it either when she did it. Like, she didn't realize that meant they were going to be like kind of tied together and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed, Sabrina. Would not have been the best. Yes, not to grab a bite to eat, but it's people. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, sorry, I just put that back up again. Look, you found a kindred spirit in the
Yes!
there.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
a good
so sad that they're all alive at the end. Please give me a terrible ending.
Let's
Oh,
talk about that.
You didn't hear the ending I gave Amanda. Oh,
I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
fine. That we'll discuss it on the show. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, don't spoil too much. Give yourself something to say when you do your own talk about this. But what did we think of the ending? I personally like a happy ending when the evil characters get their just desserts and everybody else rides off into the sunset, like literally in this case. I like that. Alex, are you with me on happy endings? How do you feel about endings?
Yeah, I think so. And again, I'm sorry to keep banging on about it, but I think that again comes from the kind of thing that I read. I don't necessarily like a tidy ending, and I like the fact that it was still quite open-ended as to what was going to happen next, and them kind of dealing with the fact that they have made another vampire themselves, despite being so mad about everything that had happened to them. I think that kind of raises interesting sort of ethical questions that I'm sure that they will sort of confront amongst themselves down the line. Yeah, it hit the right note for me. I thought that it was one of the stronger parts of the book. I think the kind of the emotional connection between them all as they're kind of getting into that old van at the end and preparing to go off into their new forever. Yeah, I felt sort of quite emotional after that really hot after the fight, and then all of a sudden that come down. It was like, right, okay, let's all just take a minute and breathe. And I thought that was satisfyingly done. Although, having heard the alternative from Claire, I think, in an alternate universe, I would have really enjoyed a more gruesome ending as well. So, I'm happy. Happy,
good.
but I do see where you're coming from.
So, Claire, would you have gone like the gruesome route with it? Do you think? Like,
yeah,
were you happy 100%. With how it went, or do you think
it's too formulaic? It's too obvious. I mean, I get where they're coming from, that they're going to ride off into the sunset, happy, the couple, all couples, all family, all together. But we've got a bunch of serial killers in a van. I mean, if we some kind of road trip sequel where they're just going across America eating people and leaving bodies in the wake, I'm fine with that. But I don't know if it's just that on the podcast we've just come off Cheesy Horror Month, and I'm reading all these wonderful horror stories that are gruesome and terrible, and bad things happen to bad people as well, which is good because Elton got his comeuppance in that lovely, almost Back to the Future style disappearing act which was quite fun. I don't know, I didn't necessarily need a happy ending for everyone. It was formulaic, and I don't mean that with any disrespect, but it was predictable, and that's fine. Sunday afternoon kind of read ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a choice, isn't it? Like, that's the way you can go with it. You can kind of follow, like, lean into the trope, or you can kind of reinvent and yeah, I think for me, I liked the leaning into it in this case. How about you, Erin? Were you a fan of the ending?
Yeah, I liked the ending. I agree, it was very predictable. I already kind of knew where we were going from the very beginning, how this was going to start playing out. It was a formula. I didn't dislike that though. I don't know. I'm in the middle of, sometimes I like really horrible endings where everyone just dies. I like that. Sometimes I like just the bleak, really, melancholy, sad, depressing endings. And then sometimes I like a happy ending. So I think it just depends. For this, it didn't really bother me that it was just, a little obvious, a little happy. Everybody, everyone was fine. Yay, we're together. Happy little family going on with their little journey. That didn't really bother me. I liked it. It was good. Yeah.
Cool. How about you, Amanda? Did you want a sad and gruesome? Or you
Of
happy with what
course.
happened?
Have you met me before?
Yeah, well, that's
of
why
course.
I kind of didn't want to assume your answer, but I'll let you speak
Yeah.
for yourself.
I mean, everybody's heirlooms are destroyed, so let's just murder all of them. I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, they've got no past, so why not take away the future as well? Is that the
Yeah.
thought? Like,
Yeah, they
Gwen,
can be
in
done.
fact, Gwen
Just
could
kill
kill
them
them
all.
all, and Gwen just stands on the bodies at the end. Like,
Yes. She's just on a pile of bodies at the end. I live for that.
I think you should write that, to be honest, Amanda. Just
Okay,
kind of-
I will.
I'll just add it to your list of stuff. I've given you a few things to work on tonight.
Yeah,
so.
sure. Just keep adding them up. It's fine.
Yeah, let's see what Sharon says. I think Sharon's got something to add to the discussion. Yeah, I think I kind of expected, like, I've forgotten his name, the not Gwen part of the trio.
Frankie.
What was he called? Yeah, I kind of felt that was foreshadowed quite a bit, that he was going to sell them out. So then when he did sell them out, I was like, oh, the main character would figure that out and like told us. So I wasn't that surprised by that one.
He was a toy shop for Happy Meal, or to be fair, he wasn't the brightest. His fangs weren't very
Yes,
sharp.
No, he really liked Ida, didn't he? And didn't know what to do about it. I mean, don't we all like Ida, to be fair? He just didn't have the social skills to make that happen. But, yeah, so, I was a little bit, that was the only thing I would say that kind of, I didn't know. I was watching the Parker thing all the way through and I didn't know which way that was going to go, whether she was going to get the human life or not. What do we think of that? Were people happy about that for Parker, or did you?
Well, I don't mind, but like I say, it should have ended differently.
Like, if you can be a vampire, you should be a vampire.
Well, that's
all
obvious.
vampires all the time. So.
Well, we did have an in-depth discussion, didn't we, when I came on the podcast about, like, and of course I wanted to know the practicalities of being a vampire. You two want the silliest answer ever, and I'm like, no, I'm taking this seriously as if it's like real life.
Amy,
like,
every single time I've had black pudding since that conversation, I've waited for my change and it hasn't happened.
Honestly, I'm really sorry that we, can't make it happen in that way. But because we'd all have done that. I don't know, would we all have done that? Like,
if it involved vampirism, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what people are saying. Oh yeah, we saw that one. Yeah, I kind of was waiting for that. Like, what would you prefer, Alex?
That's what I wanted to.
Yeah. Did you want her to like turn the tables on them?
Yes. Yeah, you know my ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, isn't it? With like with Supernatural, I mean, I haven't finished it to know how it ends, so no spoilers from me because I have no idea. But it's fine. I'm not going to spoil it because I haven't seen it. Don't worry. But that's the whole question of the brothers, isn't it? Of, are they going to go out in blaze of glory? Are they going to get a normal life or not? And I do find that very interesting. Like, what is the cost of the kind of supernatural life, the vampire life, whatever it is? No Supernatural spoilers in the comments. I might cry because I haven't finished watching. So I was going to ask you one more question then, which I didn't put on the list. So I'm going to put you on the spot, everybody. I'm going to ask for book recs in a second, but I want to know, who is your absolute favourite vampire, if you can only choose one? Not from this book, but just from forever. And I don't know, I think that they'll cut off, but in case you can't see the homage to Spike behind me, Spike from Buffy is my favourite one because I just love him. So anybody else got a favourite vampire? Claire and Amanda look like I've asked them to like make the worst decision I've ever been asked to make. So how about you, Alex? Do you have a favourite vampire except your own little vampire?
I do. So I think my favourite vampire is probably Nadia of Antipaxos from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, I still need to watch it. Oh my goodness, I still need to watch it, Alex.
Have you not watched it?
I don't know.
Amy.
I don't know.
Amy.
You know when so many people tell you to watch something that you're scared to watch it because you just really want it to be good. And plus, I keep
you
having
would
to write
absolutely
books
love
and
it.
stuff.
Have you seen the film?
No, like none of it. People keep telling me to, and I
Okay.
haven't. I know.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Shall I just
You
turn
know
my
when you
camera off
find
and,
out you don't really know a person?
I know.
This is this moment.
Sorry.
What's happening
I
right
just
now?
nodded and gone, yes, that's really good. But I'm being honest with you all. Erin's
I
on
bet
my
you
side.
still haven't watched The
I can
Brightness.
I feel the support from Erin. Thank you. I appreciate that. Erin hasn't turned on me yet. I could say something. I don't know. I'll try not to upset Erin before the end. I know Erin's favourite books. I'm not going to say anything about Darcy Coates, so we're fine, Erin. I love Darcy too. So yeah. How about you, Erin? Do you have a favourite vampire?
Ooh,
Being
okay.
after you've just said you're not a huge vampire fan, but do you have one?
That's true. I haven't seen or like watched or read too much. However, my favorite is probably Let the Right One In. I'm gonna go with Ellie.
I love the right one in.
I love that one so much, and I just love them. I love everything about that story. So I'm gonna have to go with Ellie from Let the Right One In. So
Good choice. How about you, Claire? I feel like you're
I
struggling with this
physically
answer,
cannot
but
answer this question.
I
Cannot answer this question. I feel
okay.
like
What
I'm gonna can I give you a cop out answer instead?
you can give me a cop out, or I'll let you have 3. If you need 3, you can have
No, my
extra
cop out
ones.
answer is going to be the vampire dolls of me and Amanda. They're my favourite
Yeah,
vampires.
I mean that is a good answer, to be fair. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
we're
you can
tiny
be a
and
vampire
precious.
of yourself.
Our tiny
That's-
selves, because I cannot give you movie or book vampire because they're all so different.
Yeah,
I can't.
I really
Did
wanted to
you-
give you a
did
top
you-
10,
Did you
but
make them? Did you make the dolls?
My mum did them.
Oh, are they knitted?
can you
Yes.
show us? Like, is it going to upset yourself if you show us them, or let me see the tiny Amanda?
I
and
can't put them
Claire.
back because Amanda likes to fall over all the time. That's tiny Amanda.
Oh,
Amanda does have copies of these. She has the
I do.
originals. I've got
I do.
the copies with our little red
Oh, they're
cute.
great.
Converse.
They're
That is
so
so cute.
good. How?
And this is me, tiny me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You have an excellent mum, Claire. That's like quality mumming right there.
Well, after she did
yeah,
me
they're
a
great.
Dead-Eyed Sadie and a Mr. Jitters from Cat Ellis's books, I had to give her another challenge.
I need to create a horrible creature, don't I, so that your mum will make it. Challenge accepted. What can I do?
So
I like-
these are my cop-out answers for you.
No, that's a lovely answer. I feel like it's going to be hard to beat that one, Amanda. You're going to say something horrible now, aren't you, to just lower the tone again after we've seen the cute dolls?
Well,
can give-
I
I can
think
tell you what it should be.
what should it be?
It should be Fart Oldman.
Sorry, I was not expecting that. My answer was going to be, Amy, you should know this, Gary Oldman's Dracula.
Well, I had a slight inkling. I don't know if anybody's seen the pictures of Amanda. In fact, I think I put it on the promo.
You
Amanda
did.
the best Gary Oldman's Dracula cosplay. I mean, like, better than Gary Oldman's Gary Oldman. It was like ridiculously hot. It was very confusing for me on many levels. But yeah, I loved that very much. And,
Yeah.
and again, I stole that from you because Jared dressed up as the second book. So did you just write the whole second book? Really?
I did. And also with the Candyman room, like that was me too. I'm taking credit for. I should be a ghostwriter for me to do.
Honestly, like I just soaked it all up. We need to do an actually. In fact, we've done one for the second book, haven't we? Damn, I need to listen to that again and make sure that I haven't missed anything for the third book. My other self that isn't really me and is Kev has picked some winners. So Sharon, Positively Hover, and Ananshi Reads have won some. Oh, I've missed somebody. Okay, so yeah, you've won for them for the social media pictures. So if you can send me your address, you will get a little book plate and a bookmark. And Sabrina, Kay, and Andreas, you have won a signed book plate and bookmark. So send me your addresses by whichever method you feel comfortable, and I will put those in the post for you. Sabrina's happy. You are very welcome. Yeah. That, I think, like what I was saying about the book, I didn't expect that level of like gut wrenching when I picked up this book. Like, it took me through a lot of emotions. Yeah. Oh, as in your books that you write. That's cool. Yeah, I'm going to. Okay, I feel like you've told me this before, Alex. I've instantly forgotten. Film or TV show? Which one am I meant to watch first?
The movie.
The movie came first.
I think film first.
Did you all just say that together?
Actually, yes, film first because the characters from the film have a cameo in the TV show.
Okay, yeah, I like to be told that. Charlene Harris does that. She like references her own books within the books, and then I get mad that I read them in like the wrong order to truly appreciate it. So.
Oh, that scene in the TV show though, you will scream. It's so good.
Okay.
It is absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
I love the mockumentary sort of style as well. It's very fun.
Have you watched it?
I think you'll love it.
I'm left out here. Maybe we need
Erin,
to both go away and watch
Erin,
this. That's why Erin wasn't
watch
supporting me.
Join us,
She was quietly-
join us.
Watch
I'm sorry, I've
Sparky.
just like revealed you as well. Not
It's
having
okay.
watched it.
You've just been brought out of the
Erin.
coffin.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, I'm jealous that you guys get to watch them for the first time. So definitely,
Yeah.
you should watch them and then let us all know what you think. So I want to talk about them.
Okay, excellent deal. Okay, awesome. I can sort that out. Okay, so in fact, let's see if in the comments, if the first person who says that they want it, you can have it instead of Kate because she's gifting hers. Yes. Oh, it was so sad. I thought it was written really beautifully, that bit too. No, I haven't watched any films that came out in the last 3 years generally because I have a 3-year-old who is awake most of the time. I don't want him to watch any film that's called You Won't Be Alone. So yeah, sadly, anything that isn't Mickey Mouse or like Hey Duggee or any kind of cute creature at the moment isn't really getting watched. Yeah, agreed. I find it hard to picture anybody else as Dracula.
Sharon, I want to be your best friend. I feel like we have all of the same opinions on everything.
Oh, I feel like is this Kev linking to Amanda looking really hot as Gary Oldman? I hope it is. Please follow that link, everybody, and just check. I mean,
Thanks,
if not,
Kevin.
I might have to reshare on my social media because it was excellent. I mean, your cosplays are always brilliant, but that is still my
Thank you.
favorite.
We need to share that TikTok too because that was the best.
It was so funny. Like, do you want to explain it? It was so funny. And then we'll have the song.
Yeah, I recreated Gary Oldman saying "See me" and just popping out of the weirdest places, like behind trees, and I laughed every single time. So everyone needs to go and enjoy that.
Okay, that is
You need
it.
to
That
see
is
the
it.
uncut version. The uncut
Oh,
version
God,
is nearly
yeah.
5 minutes long. It is
So good.
Yeah, that's it apparently. So if anybody wants to watch that afterwards and have a little laugh, that is the Gary Oldman cosplay video. So
Thank you.
Oh, and the
Thank you
TikTok
for that.
original, Kev's link too. So you have, I mean, yes,
Thanks,
Yeah.
Kevin.
he's a good one, isn't he? Like literally there, tech support, set this whole thing up. You know, everybody needs a Kev. I get told this regularly. I'm like, no, he's mine. You can't have it.
Can we do
Okay,
a timeshare?
so-
Are you sure we can't do a timeshare?
Yeah, I know. Or like cloning or something. Like just post them around the different contents we live on. I'm sure I could arrange that. So I would like you to recommend a book, everybody. I know that this is the hardest part, like probably even harder than choosing your favourite vampire. I'm going to recommend Fell of Dark, if you liked that. I've just read Fell of Dark too. And it has kind of a similar vibe of like what it's like to be a real teenager thrown into this kind of chosen one vampire scenario. And it was good fun. So yeah, I recommend that. How about you, Amanda? Do you have a book recommendation?
Yeah, I just will always, anytime anyone asks me for a vampire book recommendation, I will always suggest All These Bodies by Kendara Blake.
Yes.
She is an amazing author anyway, and the audiobook narrator, Matt Godfrey, did a great job with that one as well. So it's kind of, are you a vampire or are you just a crazy? So
Yes.
it was one of my favorite books the year that it came out. So that's what I'm going to suggest.
Yeah, that's a good call. Kendara Blake is just like an instant read author for me anyway. And when she, like, Anna Dressed in Blood is my favorite Kendara Blake book. Kendara Blake doing Ghost Hunters and Ghosts, and then obviously Vampires, awesome too.
She's amazing.
Sharon is missing the limbs of Kev tonight. Usually when I do YouTube like live streams, I do them downstairs, and Kev's so tall that he can't help but like have arms or legs appear. Luckily still attached to his body, unlike if I'd got hold of them. But yeah, so no Kev cameos. I'm trapped in my little vampirium tonight. So how about you, Claire? Do you have a recommendation?
I'm going to recommend Horror Hotel by Faith McLaren and Victoria Fulton, which we read this month. We read for April for Cheesy Horror Month on Fictional Hangover. It's got no vampires in, sorry, which I know is unusual. But it does have great gruesome horror. It's got ghosts, love that. It's got a sapphic relationship. It's got found family. It's got some wonderful twists on the typical tropes, which is why I selected it, because it's got a lot of #tenuous links TM in this that you would get in that you got in the Lost Girls as well. And it's so good. It's the kind where you read it, you think this is going to be really B movie, but it's stellar B movie. It's
Oh.
brilliant. So even if you don't
Sold.
normally read YA books, you can get away with it because they're like 19-year-old, and it's very adult. There's a lot of adult stuff in there as well. Like, it's gruesome. It's great.
What was that one?
There's
Horror
blood.
Hotel? You said?
Horror Hotel.
Yes. Okay,
And I think it
sold.
is actually based on this hotel in LA. So if you've heard about that, then you should know the Horror Hotel thing.
I haven't, but yeah, I'm going to have to look that up now. Yeah, same here, Sharon. I heard all I needed to hear there in that description. I mean, Claire, this is what you do, isn't it? Describing books and making us want to buy them. You cunning pair, you and Amanda. Like, every
when are we going to
no, stop.
We don't get commission for this, however.
Yeah, sadly. Like, if only we did. Like, Erin, think of how many books you've recommended over the years.
Yeah.
How about you, Erin? Do you have a recommendation that would be a good fit for a Lost Girls fan?
I do. It's actually a vampire story as well, and it's House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson.
Yes, that's a good choice.
Love that book. It is beautiful. It is atmospheric. It has a sapphic relationship in it, and it's very interesting because the main character is a blood maid for the wealthy, so therefore they drink her blood, and she gets kind of sucked into this world of the wealthy.
Sucked into it. Sorry, you did it too.
I did. It was an accident too. I didn't mean to. But she does. She gets sucked in, and they drag her into it, and she has to get herself out. So
yeah, it's so good, and you sold that too. If you didn't hear that and want to instantly buy it, I would be surprised. It's really, really, really well done, and it's kind of, is it YA or is it adult? It has like that feel of straddling the two, I think.
It's actually an adult horror novel. So her other one, Year of the Witching, is YA, but this is actually adult. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Let's see. So how about you, Alex? Do you have a recommendation to finish off the discussion for the night?
Yeah, I think I've actually done a lot of learning this stream, so much as being able to confidently recommend. I don't think I've done enough reading of YA to be like, hey, you should definitely read this, just because I don't think that I've really read anything that's been quite like this. I mean,
how about I just recommend your book then? That everybody should read Alex's book who wants to read about vampires. Maybe that's a good one.
Funnily enough, I was about to say,
you're about to recommend your own book.
Picking up. No. I think that picking up the Mina series would be most definitely the most sensible recommendation that I can make. Either that or Big Bad Me by Ashlyn, if you can pick that up, or why not both and just have one in each hand for a balanced diet.
Yes,
I think that would be fab.
Thank you. And if you want a little taste of Ghost to add to that balanced diet, Alex has Ghost in hers and Ashlyn has Werewolf, so I feel a bit left out that I've just... Although there may be a little something else in the third book that I can add to the mix, but yeah, I'll leave that
a little something.
Yes,
I have a feeling.
Else. Yeah. Do you have it? Don't say it just in case it's right, and then I can't hide it.
Okay. All right. Hang on. I'll tell you it in Morse code with my blinks. You ready?
Yeah, do. Yeah, you're right. Definitely. No, I have no idea. So you could have said anything and I just agreed to it. That's really bad. People are going to watch that now.
Could have said something really rude. If anyone knows Morse code, I'm very
Somebody
sorry
in the comments will be able to read Morse code and put in. But actually, what you said is this. Wow.
Yeah, Alex just swore.
Alex, you can't say that.
It'll be all over Twitter tomorrow. Middle grade author reveals deepest secrets during the live stream
using 3 Morse code blinks. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, it might help me sell a few books, so I'm up for that.
Yeah, accidentally viral. That sounds good to me. Yeah, I'm sorry, I clicked on this too late, so I don't know which book's quite compelling. I think maybe that came up during the House of Hunger chat. I'm not sure. And hi, and also bye, because I'm about to wrap up the. Yeah, I mean, come on, Alex, just watch the language with the blinks there.
Sharon, it'll be our little secret.
Oh, well, I think that's probably a good place to wrap up our vampire discussion. So you've been listening to our YA Book Club discussion of Lost Girls, and I feel it's necessary to plug the next YA Book Club. We are reading, just had to check the title. I know the title. Why do I always do that? Good Girls Die First by Catherine Foxfield, which is spooky, set on an abandoned carnival. A load of teenagers are brought there who have been blackmailed. If they don't turn up in the middle of the night to this horrible abandoned place, their secrets will be revealed. And of course, it's based on And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, so they don't last very long. One at a time, slowly, horrible things happen. So hopefully you might want to join in with us for that. I think that is, Kev hasn't popped up. Horror Hotel, got it, was the excellent book. So that's seconding the recommendation for that. Ooh, Parasite Life. I haven't heard of that. I'm going to check that out. Oops, sorry, the comments are just doing their own thing tonight. Okay, so thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you so much, lovely people on screen. I hope that you will buy Alex's brilliant books, go and listen to Amanda and Claire, and, you know, look at their faces on YouTube too, if you would so choose. I recommend you do. And Erin Megan, of course, you need to go and get all of their book recommendations from her because she's amazing. So as she mentioned, her channel is Erin Megan on YouTube. So I think that is everything I wanted to say. Thank you so much, people watching. Thank you to people on the screen, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next book club. Bye.